YouTube, welcome to Fox Boss 9, and we're in the garage like it used to be the good old days. It's a different garage because we hit the road for 3 years. We sold our old house. It had been in the family, Heidi's family, for 75 years. And we sold all that. I sold all of my snap-on box, my lift table, my crane, air compressors, welders, got rid of half my tools, and we went out and bought a brand new travel trailer first. A brand new truck, traded in that truck, bought another brand new truck, and then went out and got a new fifth wheel. And we were living on the road for the last 3 years, and I didn't experience winter. You know, when you're living and you can move anywhere in the country, you don't stay in Northeast Ohio whenever winter rolls around. You just take off. But we're back. We got a home, and now I don't have a plow tractor. I've had that plow tractor since the day we moved in for 20 years. I had a tractor that I used to plow the driveway, and the driveway we have here is concrete. Not only that, but the concrete is unlevel in places. So having a plow wouldn't do so well here until I get that concrete leveled out. So we went out and did something that a little bit different. We got a snowblower, so I wanted to talk about my choices here. Now, when I worked in a shop, I worked in a shop that we serviced all of Home Depot's outdoor power equipment. Toro was a very good brand of snowblower. We always had, very little repairs on those snowblowers, except for, customers doing something wrong. Very rarely did they fail based on what the manufacturer did. And their design has always been strong. Let's just say that. So whenever it came to getting a snowblower, I knew that I wanted to get into a Toro. Now, we don't get the kind of snow that you get up on the lake, kind of like you see in Buffalo, that kind of snow, or Lake Erie up in Cleveland in the primary snow belt. We're in what they call the secondary snow belt. So today, for example, we're probably going to get about 3 inches of snow. I think we've already gotten, now I think about it, we might be getting about 4 or 5 inches of snow because we've already gotten 2 inches for sure, and it's still falling out there. So my choice of snowblowers, I knew I was going to go with a Toro. And the whole reason I'm showing you guys this is because there was a little bit of lack of information on YouTube as far as the snowblower is concerned. Now, there's plenty of videos of people pushing the snow around and what it looks like, or blowing the snow, which I'll do some video on that also. I'll show that to you guys. Everybody enjoys watching a snowblower blow snow. But as far as my choice, if I had the supply that was available, I would have got the 821QXE. Now, that's the biggest one that they have in a single stage. And why a single stage? Because a single stage does a lot of the work that a dual stage can do, and it takes up less space, it's lighter, it's easier to maneuver. There's so many reasons to go with it. Now, if you have a lot of snow, if you're a big snow type place, you could still get away with something like this and that QXE I just mentioned, the 821, I should say, sorry, 821. But be aware that there's a reason those big dual stage snowblowers, why they're so popular, because they do a very good job of really throwing the snow. When it gets thick and heavy and it's consistently coming down and you have, 10 inches of snow, 8 inches of snow on a regular basis, that's a good reason to have it. Even here, when we get that occasional really heavy snow, those dual stage snowblowers really come in handy. But a single stage, the best part about them, other than what I just mentioned, is now they've gone to 4-stroke quite a few years ago. So you're not mixing. A lot of the times, the single stage snowblowers, the problem was, okay, if we get really heavy snow, this thing's not going to do quite as well as a dual stage. That was the first con. The second con was, oh, and I've got to mix the fuel. It's a 2-stroke. Well, they got away from the 2-stroke some time ago when that 4-stroke technology came around to where they got it in smaller packages, and they, through engineering, put out decent horsepower. So the fact that you don't have to mix your oil, and now it's in a smaller package, now it's just a matter of why else would you want a single stage? Well, I like a single stage because the rubber paddles that they offer takes that down to concrete. There's a scraper bar that actually scrapes the concrete the whole way. And there's really no shoes on this to speak of, like you'd see on a dual stage. On a dual stage, you would actually have some shoes that you would adjust to keep it off the ground so far. But this one here, pretty much you could get it down to concrete. And that's nice because if you get a little bit of sunshine, and if you could just expose a little bit of your asphalt, a little bit of the concrete, a little bit of the sidewalk, the sun will do a good job of heating that, through radiant heat. It does a good job. So why did I not get the 821? Nobody had it close here. I was going to drive 40 miles one way to pick one up. The 821 Toro, it has a little bit bigger engine. It's 250 some cc, whereas this one here that I got was a 721. This one is 212 cc. Still a decent amount. That's still a decent amount of horsepower that you're going to get out of this this size of an engine. And being four-stroke, it's got a decent amount of torque. The other thing is I didn't get the QXE. That's where the adjustment for the chute is on the handle. I kind of wanted that. I didn't want to have to bump that thing and, turn it one way and turn it the other way. But if you do your driveway correctly, you shouldn't have to turn your chute too often. You're still going to need to turn it. So the price difference was the third thing that it really got me into why I went with this. And that 821 QXE was $940. The cheapest I could find it anywhere is with a military discount through like Home Depot, and I think it was $840, $850, something like that. It was still relatively expensive. Whereas this one here, we actually bought ourselves, since again we don't have any stuff. We had to buy ourselves a snow shovel and this. And with both of those and tax, we were like $640. Now still, that's a lot of money for a snowblower, but buying used, unless you're a small engine mechanic like myself, buying used could be a nightmare. You could run into problems where they had bent the auger and you can't really tell until you start wearing out paddle blade, the paddles, the rubber paddles. You can replace those. It's just a matter of buying something and having to do the work on it. But the thing is, in at least this area of the world, snowblowers, the resale value on these just go, like if I was to take and get this out and use it one time and sell it, try to sell it, even in the middle of a snowstorm, I would get $400 out of it. That's it. It just, there's no resale value in these, and it gets worse over the years. So I want to show you the other thing is that I didn't see online, and that's the box. The box itself, it's able to go into the back of a smaller SUV type vehicle. We have a 2023 Kia Seltos, and I got my old pickup truck out and brought that up to Home Depot because I didn't know how big the box was going to be. So I wanted to show you that. And you know what? Let's get out a tape measure real quick and give you some dimensions, because this, again, I know this is kind of stupid for some, but I wanted to know. 23 inches, so it's less than 2 feet this way. Across this way, I'm expecting in the 30s. Yeah, we're about 31 and a half. And then as far as the height, that's the one to get it inside the vehicle. This tape measure is not cooperating too well. It's not the best in the world. Again, we sold all the good stuff. So that's 25 and a half. So 25 and a half tall. just so you guys know. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this thing out of the box. Again, this is a model number. It's a Toro model 721e. It does have electric start. Doesn't mean it has a battery on board. You have to plug in. They don't give you the cord. They used to, but it's just a regular cord, what you would expect. 3 prongs. So just get an extension cord, like a shop extension cord, and be able to plug it in for the electric start. The thing is, these things start so easy. Matter of fact, I think they have for 2 years what they call a guaranteed to start. Well, shoot, I mean, come on. If it's going to guarantee to start on, a few pulls for the next 2 years, I don't think there's going to be an issue with needing an electric start. But some of you might not have the arm strength to do that. The other thing is, let me give you the exact model number, 38753. That's the actual model number. What I was telling you before is kind of like the model name that just so happens has a number in there. The other thing that we have with this is it's listed as a self-propel, and people get really upset about that. This does not have self-propelled drive. It doesn't have a self-propelled set of wheels that has a transmission that pushes this thing. What it has is a propel function that is used based on that rubber paddle striking the ground. So as you're pushing it along the ground, that paddle will pull you along. So if you just tilt the handle forward and put the scraper bar to the ground, it's going to start it's going to pull you along. So that's what they refer to as self-propel. I don't really like that, and I don't think, looking at the box here, that they really advertise that. So they don't really advertise on here so much the propulsion thing, but still, it's something to be aware of. All right, let's get inside this box and see what it's going to take to put it together. I don't think it's going to be very much. I read the instructions briefly whenever I was considering these. I always do my research when it comes to this stuff, but I knew that I wanted a Toro. Now, the funny thing is people are going to say, well, you know, name brand, all that. You know, I have good luck with that stuff, personally. I know you can't see it off in the distance, but I had a Honda cultivator. I don't know what they actually refer to this as. An FG110. So I had one of those before. When we sold our home, I sold it. I was very disappointed to find out I needed another one because they're like $400. Now you can go get a cultivator for $120 at the local stores, and they kind of do a good job. That Honda will do an exceptional job. The Edger, the same thing with the Edger. Working on small engines all these years, I know that McLean makes a very good Edger. However, I bought some kind of a Predator torque thing. I don't even know what it was. I can't remember, but it did a horrible job. It was not good at all. Versus me going out and buying a used McLean at $300 used. And guess what? It's perfect. It's exactly what you think. So you got to make sure that you check the name brand. Now, in the case of my zero turn, if I had a choice, I would get a Ferris. That's my own personal preference. Maybe an X-Mark, but maybe a Skag, you know, I don't know. Those are the brands that just come to mind. I would have to get on them and just kind of feel them out. I did like Ferris for the longest time, which is a Simplicity, same thing, because you can adjust the suspension. However, I wanted to get something that was within my price range, but I got a ZTX, not anything from the box store, ZTX 5, which is a 54-inch. And the reason that I got the ZTX 5 is because it has the 3100 series hydros on it versus the 2000 series hydros that you would get on the stuff you buy at the box stores. You know, it looks just like the one you buy at the box store, except it has a bigger engine. This is a 24 horse Kawasaki, which you can get on some of them. But more importantly, I wanted those heavy hydros, those commercial hydros. So looking at this here, looks pretty straightforward. It looks like I got to get it out of the box, obviously. It does come with oil, so you guys know. Again, that's one of the reasons I'm doing the unboxing. As far as I know, let me look at here. Well, it says it's 20 ounces. This probably is exactly the amount of oil that's needed. There's 3 screws here. That's to hold the deflector chute. Obviously, it's not been shipped with the deflector chute. It is a little bit on the heavy side. I think this is 80 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. So I'm going to get this down on the ground and get this out of the box. We'll rejoin when I get it out of the box here, because I don't want to see you guys. I don't want you to have me grunting and moaning here. All right, so we got it out of the box. Not a big deal. I'm looking for my razor knife, which I don't see. Oh, I put it back. That's different. I actually put something back. So again, the assembly looks like that it's pretty straightforward. I haven't looked through the instructions as far as the assembly is concerned. I should, I guess. I guess seeing that you have to put on the deflector chute, you're going to see that a lot of this is set up for what you would get into the store. You know, whenever they assemble it, they They want it to appear friendly for the customers, so it's going to have these tags and, you know, this advertising and stuff like that, so the associates that are putting it together don't have to be worried about it. Now you're supposed to adjust this bar. I'll talk about that a little bit because that is a little confusing to some, I'm sure. And basically that adjustment that I'm talking about, there we go. The adjustment that I'm talking about is the tension that's put on the belt that's inside of here. And that's done with this cable, this handle here. Now, I want you guys to, I see a lot of people make a mistake online, so I don't want you guys to be the blunt of any jokes. And that's basically pulling this handle like you would a lawnmower to start it. This isn't a safety. You know, the safety is you don't need to pull this handle until you want the impeller to spin. So what they do is they, on the videos that I've seen, people for the first time that's never used a snowblower, they think that you have to pull that handle to start it. Well, that's what engages the blade, or the impeller. So basically what they want you to do is make sure that when you have tension here, which is pretty close actually, what you're wanting to do is get out your phone and use your QR code and or reader if you've got one, or if it's built in. And there's a QR code down here on the lower housing unit, I guess you could say. And that QR code puts you into the manual. And what the manual is going to tell you is how to adjust this here. A lot of people don't even know that that's there. They just think this is some, I don't know what they think that is, but that is for an adjustment. And then adjust the amount of tension going down to the spring-loaded idler that's inside of the housing for the belt. So again, I know that the view isn't the greatest here for you to be able to see this, but what you're going to do is you're going to put slight tension on this arm. Just slight. Just to make this cable come up a little bit. At that point, you're going to measure the gap between this part of the arm. Again, it's not going to come out on camera very well. You're going to measure the gap between this bail rod and the handle, and it should only be about a 1/16 of an inch and an 1/8 of an inch, or 2 to 3 millimeters. Right now, it's definitely greater than that. And this is something you want to check over time. And the reason is because this, when you do this and pull this up, it's putting tension down there on the belt. However, it's not putting necessarily enough tension on the belt, and you don't want the belt to burn up. You don't want it also to be too tight. There is a spring that helps with the tension to be adjusted, and I know you can't see the spring, but there is a spring here that is on here, and that does help. But you definitely want to make sure that you have that bail, that rod, to be in the correct position. So right now it's not. I need to go ahead and get myself a little bit more. So let's take this off. You can see here, this is real simple to do. Put the cable up through so you got this to be able to move. And let's just go up maybe 2 holes in this case. There we go. And now I can put the spring back on. Right back the way it was there. And now it's perfect. Again, I know that you're not going to necessarily see this too well, but when I do this, I get, that's just perfect. Now you don't want too much tension, because then the belt, you know, the thing would always work all the time. Yeah, that's got to be perfect right there. So really good. That's the hardest adjustment that I wanted to talk about to some extent. So other than that, everything's pretty straightforward. Your rope guide goes on the underside. You want to point the hoop to the left. The reason you don't put it on top is because the pull cord can't make the turn from the engine. So once that's there, now I can pull the cord up, and then you just want to loop it through like that. That way it holds it. Easy to get to, easy to start. Again, do not pull the bail to start it. There's only 3 holes that can go, that this can go to. So you want to make sure that you put those screws that they provided in the bag with the oil. If you guys don't know what they look like, this is what they look like here. They do have a hex head on them and a Phillips. And they're kind of like a self-tapping coarse screw. They're not really a bolt, they're a screw. So let's go ahead and grab the discharge chute, which is kind of cool. It's got some sort of a mechanism on it that it locks in. So you put it down like this, it starts getting hit by the snow and it starts pushing its way up. Well, now they have this mechanism that holds it in place, which is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and see here. Trying to find the way that, there we go. I knew that there was a little trick to it. I haven't assembled a snowblower for, I don't know, probably 15 years. Same with that one. See this? Nice. So the next thing is putting the oil in the engine, and the way that they have you do that is they want you to take the oil cap off, and they want you to put 90% of the oil in there that's coming in the bottle, and then they want you to set the unit back down flat, leave it sit for 3 minutes, I think it is, and then check the oil. At that point, if needed, you need to put then the rest of it in, which is the full amount, which I've never had to do that before. As far as I know, it takes basically 20 ounces of oil. So you just put, 20 ounces oil in there. Now, the oil that they give you initially, you definitely want to run with that oil. And the reason being is because it's got a zinc additive in it for break-in. It aids in the break-in. So, yeah, I'm not sure exactly why they want you to put the oil in that manner. I think so you don't overfill it, obviously, but quite honestly, if that's the amount of oil that it takes, why wouldn't you just put that amount of oil in there? By the way, it is a 5W30 oil. You could put a full synthetic. That way the thing will go a long time. Well, you're supposed to do an oil change after so many hours of use, because again, this is break-in oil. It does have that additive to help with the break-in, to protect the parts. But after that, it's a good idea to drain it out, and at that point, put in your regular oil, your long-term oil. And again, I would do synthetic 5W30. That covers all the different temperatures, and you would be just fine with that. So there is a gauge on here, and this is a stab. I don't know how else to describe it. That's what we've called it before. And the way you measure the oil is whenever the engine is flat and level, on ground, you stab it to check the oil. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. And we're going to set you lower for all this. And what you do is stab it. You don't screw it in, you just stab it. Just put it to the threads and then pull it out and read it. And in this case, it's not even but on the very bottom of the dipstick. So that tells me that it needs more oil. Big surprise. So I'm going to put in the rest of the oil. We'll go ahead and put this on and get a little snug. Now, in the case of what I just showed you there, I would clean up any kind of oil that you may have dripped, because you want to make sure that this thing doesn't have any problems with dripping oil. And you won't know if that drip came from what you did during fill-up or if it's during running. Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. We're starting to get to the good stuff, guys. This, I think, is still potentially summer, maybe. And as you guys that know small engines are thinking, holy cow, he is putting old gasoline in there. Yep. Anything over 30 days is considered old gas and is not covered under any kind of warranty. I know that you guys may not be able to wrap your brains around that, but that is what the manufacturer said. Anything over 30 days is considered old gas. So just take that in consideration whenever you go flying into you know, a repair shop with a warranty, and you start screaming about how this thing won't start and you only ran it 1 year and whatever else you could come up with, and yeah, they're going to say, yeah, it's old gas. Because I used to do that. I was the one that would tell you that, because that's what the manufacturers say. As a small engine mechanic, whenever I would go out to people's homes and I would work on their snowblowers, or if I was going to start a snowblower myself, I pump it until fuel comes out. I don't care. I'm going to keep on pumping, especially on a 2-stroke. Not so much on a 4-stroke, but on a 2-stroke, you pump it until fuel comes out. Just keep on hitting it. It's fine. A 2-stroke can handle it. But in this one, let's go ahead and do just a few pushes. I can hear the fuel siphoning. Just took about 4, I guess. Let's go ahead and try to start it. And that's it. Have it. Good little snowblower. This has got more than enough power for what I need to do here. This thing will do probably up to 8-9 inches, no problem. Whenever it gets real heavy, I know that it does a really good job with that, even based on just videos that I've watched on YouTube. But I'm going to clear this off real quick. I'm going to shut you guys off. This video is going on long enough. I hope this video helped you out, and hope to see you next time.